Hello everyone and welcome to Holistic Healing with Deepshikha, where we explore the many pathways to healing and growth. I'm your host Deepshikha and today's episode is all about self-compassion, what it means, why it's essential to healing, and how we can cultivate it in our daily lives. We live in a world that often celebrates perfection, and because of that, many of us develop harsh inner critics. We might constantly feel like we are falling short, that we aren't good enough, or that we don't deserve kindness, especially from ourselves. But in truth, self-compassion is the key to deep transformative healing. Without it, the wounds we carry can feel impossible to heal. In today's episode, we are going to break down how we can replace self-criticism with self-compassion and why this shift can be a game changer for both emotional and physical healing. Let's start by understanding what self-compassion actually means. At its core, self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and care that you would offer a close friend who is struggling. It is definitely not vanity or having a sense of superiority or a misplaced sense of self. We often hear about compassion in the context of being kind to others. But how often do we extend the same level of care to ourselves? If you are like most people, the answer is probably not often enough. Instead, we tend to judge ourselves harshly when we make mistakes, feel inadequate, or fall short of our own expectations. Self-compassion, according to Dr. Kristin Neff, a leading researcher in this field, has three main components. First, self-kindness. Being gentle and understanding with ourselves when we suffer, fail, or feel inadequate rather than ignoring our pain or pushing ourselves with self-criticism. Second, common humanity. Recognizing that suffering and imperfection are part of the shared human experience rather than feeling isolated by our failures. And third, mindfulness. Holding our negative thoughts and feelings in balanced awareness rather than letting them overwhelm us. These three components work together to create a space where we can heal rather than punish ourselves when we encounter difficulties in life. Why is self-compassion so crucial for healing? The answer lies in how self-criticism can trap us in a cycle of suffering, while self-compassion can break that cycle and open the door to emotional freedom. When we are harsh on ourselves, criticizing every mistake, replaying painful memories, or focusing on what we could have done differently, we activate our body's stress response. The constant flow of stress hormones like cortisol can lead to physical and emotional exhaustion. Over time, the stress can manifest as anxiety, depression, or even physical illness. Self-compassion, on the other hand, helps us activate the body's relaxation response. Instead of berating ourselves for past mistakes, self-compassion allows us to acknowledge our pain and offer ourselves care and kindness in response. This shift creates a safer emotional space within ourselves, allowing us to process difficult emotions and experiences without self-inflicted suffering. Research shows that people who practice self-compassion experience greater emotional resilience, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and even healthier immune responses. Self-compassion provides the foundation for healing by encouraging us to approach our pain with gentleness, which opens the door for deeper emotional work to take place. In a healing journey, self-compassion is a vital tool. Whether you are recovering from trauma, overcoming loss, or simply navigating daily stress, self-compassion reminds you that you are worthy of care and healing. You are not the voice inside your head, but the one who hears it. One of the most important things we can do to foster self-compassion is to break the cycle of self-criticism. Most of us have an inner critique, a voice that tells us we are not good enough, that we have failed, or that we don't deserve happiness. This voice might have developed as a defense mechanism in childhood or as a result of societal pressure, but over time it becomes deeply ingrained. To cultivate self-compassion, we need to become aware of this voice and consciously shift our inner dialogue. But how do we do that? Here are some strategies. Notice the critic. The first step is simply noticing that you are being self-critical. When things go wrong or when you are feeling down, pay attention to the words you say to yourself. Are they kind and understanding or harsh and judgmental? Once you notice the voice of self-criticism, gently challenge it. Ask yourself, would I say this to a friend in the same situation? If the answer is no, then it's time to shift the narrative. Try offering yourself words of encouragement instead of judgment. When self-criticism arises, consciously choose kindness. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. Remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes and that you're worthy of care no matter what. A big part of self-compassion is accepting your imperfections. Instead of striving for an impossible standard of perfection, recognize that being human means being imperfect. This acceptance can reduce feelings of shame or inadequacy and instead foster a sense of peace and self-acceptance. Breaking the cycle of self-criticism takes practice. Over time, your inner dialogue will become more compassionate and this will create space for healing. Now let's talk about practical ways to cultivate self-compassion in your daily life. These are small but powerful practices that can help you build a kinder relationship with yourself. Start each day with a compassionate affirmation, something as simple as I am worthy of love and care, or I choose to be kind to myself today can set a positive tone for the day. When you're feeling stressed or upset, take a moment to pause and check in with yourself. Acknowledge your pain and offer yourself words of comfort like, "This is hard, but I will get through it." The simple act can instantly shift your perspective. Next is loving kindness meditation. This form of meditation involves silently repeating phrases of goodwill towards yourself and others, such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be at peace." This practice nurtures both self-compassion and compassion for others. Keep a self-compassion journal where you reflect on moments when you were self-critical and how you could have been more compassionate. This helps you track your progress and become more aware of your inner dialogue. And lastly, self-soothing rituals. Engage in activities that bring you comfort, whether it's taking a warm bath, drinking tea, or listening to soothing music. These small acts of kindness towards yourself can foster self-compassion. The key is consistency. Even small acts of self-compassion, when practiced regularly, can lead to profound healing over time. And more than anything else, it takes belief. Believe in yourself that whatever you're doing is for your good and you are healing. And with that, we come to the end of this episode. Remember, self-compassion isn't about being perfect or getting rid of your inner critique overnight. It's about showing up for yourself with kindness, especially when life gets tough. Healing begins with the way we treat ourselves, and self-compassion is the key to unlocking that healing. If today's episode resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need this message. Until next time, take care of yourself with the love and compassion you deserve. Remember, you live most of your life inside your head. Make sure it's a nice place to be.